do something down there at Winterfest?
Yeah, what was that?
They
Heather,
they named it the oh, was it the Hallmark Town? Like Hallmark actually named it there like a Hallmark Town. But yeah, there was some talk going around about that.
Yeah, and then they had was it a Christmas present wrapping record or something?
Yeah, it was the most people wrapping a Christmas gift at the same time. I don't remember what the record was to beat. Well, we pretty much blew it out of the water, and it was an all day event, very organized. Some people were under tents. They had live music there, and it was just a all day thing. But it was there was a lot of people there.
And you know what's strange? To just a casual listener or someone that's not really associated with Portsmouth at all, they may think that that's kind of silly or not important, but they're missing the bigger picture that, like Nathan said, there's a new group of people that are trying to change attitudes and make the city desirable.
Right. You've got a group of individuals, and they're like-minded, and they have the same ideas, and it just goes to show what happens when you get people together and working towards a goal. And the whole town is getting to follow. And like I said, I live in Kentucky, so it's just not people in Scioto County. I mean, people from Greenup County and Lewis County, Kentucky, come over to Portsmouth, not just for Winterfest, but for a lot of things.
Well, heck, for you guys in Kentucky, when you cross the Ohio River, it's like coming into a different country, right?
I didn't want to say that, but
well, you heard me say where I live. The internet's not very good, so.
Well, it's all right. We're not going to hold that against you. A Buckeye's just a crazy nut anyway. So,
yep.
Other than bicycles, is there anything else that Connex is doing? I've been seeing a lot of kayak pictures here lately.
Yeah, one of our she's our treasurer, Scott. She has kind of done some pop-up events with the kayaking out to Turkey Creek Lake. Everybody just brings their own kayaks, and she has an evening float. The first one she did, it was a full moon one, and then it just kind of continued on after that. She's not doing every Friday. It's just kind of like when she's available. She's just doing a pop-up one, and I mean she's had quite a few people come out for her. And then we have our Wendy Wall does the weekly hikes on Tuesdays, and that's a different location every week. And me and Nathan's actually got to do a couple of those already.
I think it's worth mentioning that it seems like Connex is pretty organized with their calendar of events.
Mm-hmm.
If they get onto your guys' Facebook page, can they see all the events that are happening?
Yes, we have a Facebook page. We actually have a Facebook page group. I always tell people to join the group because we're in a group. Whenever we post things, you actually get a notification. That way you can see what's going on. But one of our board members, he actually made an event for each one of our weekly rides. So you've got Tuesday, you've got Wendy's hike. So that'll pop up on your calendar each week. And then she'll actually post the night before of where the hike is, how long the hike is, difficulty. And they usually meet up like a life center and carpool to it. And then there's also a girl named Laura. She does Hills of Portsmouth also on Tuesdays. And then we have the Ride of Chucky on Wednesdays, and then a bridge ride on Thursday.
What is Hills of Portsmouth?
Well, she basically rides all the hills there around, mainly around like where the hospital is, like up over Sunrise, okay. And yeah, just some hill climbing work. So yeah, he has set up an event basically for each one of those, so it shows up weekly in your Facebook calendar. And then we also send out a newsletter, and that goes to all of our members. So if someone wanted to become a member, they would just pay a $15 membership fee. And when they're a member, they get the newsletter, and then they also get to vote when it comes to voting on new board members.
Okay. And your guys' bicycle meetups are starting to stretch out into different counties. Like you said, you did one in Adams County here recently?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did a ride. You probably don't want to talk about it, do you?
Now, hang on. We're not just going to breeze past this. You got to talk about why you don't want to talk about it.
It was rough.
Well, Heather?
Hydration is a real deal. You got to stay hydrated. And Nathan, what was the temperature? What did it get up to that day?
I don't know. Was it the mid 90s, I think? Low 90s?
It was.
I can't remember. It was hot.
So I think I think the whole ride was it 55 or 60? I think I tapped out at about
It was
50.
over 60, yeah.
Yeah.
It was 61 because I kept riding to get a metric century at 62. So, yeah.
A what? Metric century?
Yeah, it's 62 miles. They call it a metric century, 100 kilometers. But
okay.
Yeah, it was a ride. There's a new bike shop in Adams County, in Amish country actually, and they're trying to increase their tourism. So they designed it's a 60 some odd mile loop throughout Adams County, and they invited Connex up to ride it and to give them feedback on it. And it's a real nice scenic route, hilly, and we kind of started too late in the morning, so it got pretty hot on us. But other than that, I had a good time, and very scenic out there. A lot of rolling hills, streams. You ride next to Ohio Brush Creek, which is a very scenic stream. But it was good.
See, I was talking to Martin McAllister yesterday. And,
oh yeah, I know Martin.
Mm-hmm.
He brought up the railroad track that runs through Otway, McDermott, and Raritan.
Yeah.
Why doesn't Scioto County really pursue something like that and do what Adams County is trying to do?
That's kind of been a twinkle in my eye for about 15 years, and it's not officially abandoned by the railroad yet. That's part of it. But those things are a massive undertaking, and we've kind of been on a kind of working toward that here in the past couple of years. Of course, this COVID thing slowed us down, but those things are just, they're multi-agency, multi-state, and federal can get involved, and we would have to actually get Norfolk and Southern to officially abandon it first, and who knows if they even would. But it would be a fantastic bike route. It'd be one of the most scenic in Ohio, in my opinion.
Hands down.
Yeah, it would leave Portsmouth and then follow Scioto Brush Creek, which is, it's one of the cleanest streams in Ohio, and it's beautiful. Yeah, and it would be wonderful. I'd love to see it happen someday.
Well, they haven't used that railroad. I'm trying to think. I used to play on that thing whenever I graduated high school, like 15 years ago, 16.
Yeah, I believe it was shut down in the 80s, I believe. Now they would run, maintenance vehicles every once in a while on it. Once you get out past like 30, State Route 32, I think they use it more. I think, I'm not for sure about this, but I think they took out the main switch on the line going to Columbus, so you can't even switch from Portsmouth onto it anymore. So the feasibility of them even running traffic out of Portsmouth, they can't do, if that's true. So it's just sitting there rusting. and it sure would make a nice bike route. And a path like that in a city can transform it. All of a sudden, you have the ability of just the average person can get out and they can ride, 10, 20 miles because it's flat, and it really motivates them, and they leave there thinking, man, I can do this. I can get me a better bike, and the twinkle in someone's eye when they go out and they ride 20 miles, they think, man, I've really done something. And it's pretty neat. You're taking the work that railroad workers did 150 years ago, the hard work to flatten that line, and it makes bicycling so much easier now. But
is that a pretty common thing across the United States, using abandoned railroad lines?
Oh yeah, yeah. There's a rail trail organization who helps get federal funding dollars, and they kind of act as a template for communities to develop trails. And they're actually working on a nationwide trail now that will connect all the way across the United States on bike trails. And right now you can go from Washington D.C. all the way through Pittsburgh into Ohio, but it's not quite connected to the Ohio to Erie Trail. And once that's done, you can actually go from Washington D.C. to Cincinnati, I believe. So, which I done the trip from Washington D.C. to Pittsburgh last year, and that was just fantastic. So they're a really nice piece of infrastructure, and the little communities that I go through, and you see families out with their kids riding on them in the evenings, or joggers, or sometimes even rollerbladers, and it's just, I don't know. I think those cities kind of take it for granted, but we sure wish we could have one down here.
Well, I hope you guys can make it happen, because Connex has really put in a lot of effort to lay the groundwork to have that highlight piece. Like I think me and Heather were talking about, like all the park improvements you guys have made. What was it? The Mound Park project?
Project Romp, revitalize our Mound Park.
Yeah, so I guess for people that aren't familiar with the notorious Mound Park, you kind of want to let everybody know what it used to be versus what it is now.
Sure. Well, I'll kind of go back to the original idea of it. So it actually started before I joined the board, but in 2017. Connex was awarded the first Scioto 365 grant from the Scioto Foundation. And their idea was to put a activity path through Mound Park. And that was is what they submitted. So obviously they were awarded that. So we had more fundraising to do. We sold bricks. Lots of bricks. And
when you say sold lots of bricks, you mean like bricks that people could engrave, right?
Yes. So there's different, there was 2 different sizes of pavers that made up, that made up the plaza there at Mound Park. There were individuals that had their names put on them. There were businesses that had their names put on them. And then there was an actual monument and a couple other seats there that people could have their names put on. So once we were able to raise all the money, then we could start building the activity path. But it was a long process, that's for sure. But we had a guy, he was a local contractor. His name was Michael Johnson. He actually volunteered his time and come down to Mound Park and helped us, taught us basically how to lay pavers, because I don't think any of us were really experienced in that.
I was going to say, I've got to cut you off for just a second. I know Mike Johnson pretty good.
Oh, you do? Okay.
If he worked half as much as he talked, he probably could have had that project done in like 2 minutes.
Yeah, he does like to talk. That is for sure. But
I don't know if he likes to do it. He just does it. It just comes out.